I first met Sam Peckinpah when my agent in Hollywood called me. I lived in Taos then, and he said, there's a hot young director wants to meet you. He's fallen in love with a book of yours, and I couldn't imagine which one it was. And he said, High-Low Country. And his first words out of his mouth were, I want to meet the SOB who did that book. So I said, send me a ticket, and I want to meet the SOB that likes my book. We met for lunch, and we were through with lunch at 2 o'clock that night. They threw us out of the place. We were friends for the rest of our lives. My books, they're called Westerns, but they're not. They're about the West. Just as the automobile was coming into existence, that's the transition that he loved the most. That's what he was obsessed with. And that's the West I write about. It's not the gunfighting West. So he realized the transition in Sam Peckinpah's mind and in mine causes friction. And that creates stories, the friction itself between people, between societies. He was a genius. The truth is, he actually had a mathematical equation that he applied to his slow motion violence in films. And he felt that was a way to portray violence that people would notice the horror of it, the unnecessary violence that has afflicted the human animal for so long. He was in the officer corps in World War II, and he saw a lot of terrible things happen in China. He watched them, and the brutality of one human being to another. And I think that influenced his work. He never backed down from the fact that violence was constant in the human race. And people would try to get him to back down and try to get psychological studies. But I think his films prove that. All you have to do is pick up a newspaper, turn on your TV. Right now, was Sam Peckinpah right or was he wrong? He was always in trouble with producers. And I supported him the best I could. Sam would be blackballed like they did. It was bad as in the McCarthy hearings. I mean, they wouldn't give him any work. So he'd take screenplays under the table where he didn't get any credit. He had to keep everything secret from the guilds. And he would occasionally hire me to work with him under the table. And I'd pick up money to write another book. I'd come back to New Mexico and write a book when we'd finish the screenplay. When he was at his best and feeling his best, he had a grand sense of humor. Some of the great pleasures of my life with him were in bars, raising hell and having fun. But I must say that the peaceful moments with him were even more sublime. He used to come and visit me, and we'd just get a bottle of whiskey, and he didn't want to go around and see people. We'd just drive out here in the desert. It's one of the few times I ever saw him where he just simply seemed to have peace. Is when we would just sit and look, and talk, and visit, look across that great expanse of open country. It seemed to free him of something. It opened him up too at the same time. Sam Peckinpah was the best of all of them, the champion ridiculous SOB I've ever known in my life. I loved him.